the Monday, April 2nd edition of SunTV. I'm Clint Franks with Deanne Campbell. Monday again, but it's always a work day in the news office.
That's right. Did you have a nice Easter?
I did. Had a good Easter. Got an Easter basket.
Yeah. Well, you're a little spoiled.
I am.
Yeah.
I admit it.
Well, my daughter Kristen shamed me a little bit because I did not provide the usual Easter basket for the baby of the family like we usually do and have in years past. But I had told her that duty now transfers to her new husband, Seth, and Seth dropped the ball a little bit.
You're in trouble, dude.
Yeah, Seth, you better get together. She's pretty serious about that too, Seth, if you're watching this. Anyway, we just celebrated the Easter weekend.
Right.
A happy time, a time of celebration for people of the Christian faith. A time, really the most celebratory time for the Christian religion. Because, I know we celebrate Christmas in a big way, and that's usually the time where we spend more of our effort, more of celebration and weeks of celebration and all. But really, if it was not for Easter, we would have no reason to celebrate the Christmas, because Easter is what makes the Christian faith what it is, the resurrection of Christ.
Absolutely,
but we did have, in the middle of all that celebration, and all the egg hunts, and all the good times for the spring weather, and all the people that were outside celebrating the holiday weekend, we had a lot of tragedy this weekend.
We did. Rough weekend in the county. Very
rough weekend. On Saturday, most of y'all already know that we had a accident on Riderwood Drive where two children were struck by a vehicle. And it was a very emotional time for that family. The two boys, Logan and Colton Morgan, were injured in that accident, and our hearts go out to the Morgan family. We don't really have an update this morning yet on what's going on with the boys, but we do know that the county has been praying for that family, and we do too.
Absolutely.
Choctaw County is also in the middle of circuit court this week. This is a settlement and arraignment court session. Two dockets, Judge McCorkadell and Judge Montgomery. Settlement and arraignment dockets, not trials, but there are several of the murder suspects murders that are still pending, murder cases that are still pending, that are on the docket for potential settlement or settlement of some issue related to those cases, and we will be finding out what happens in those cases. One of the more high-profile cases that we'll see this week happens tomorrow, in a case that we kind of thought was already settled earlier this month. Brandon Skelton actually pled guilty earlier in March, for reckless manslaughter in a case where he had been charged with reckless murder in the death of Matthew Seward. He pled guilty to reckless manslaughter, but now has opted to file a motion to rescind that guilty plea. And so Judge Montgomery will hear that motion. Not necessarily that he'll grant it, but he'll hear it and decide it on whether to grant that motion for him to take back that plea, and that happens tomorrow. So that's kind of a volatile case involving two local families and a very difficult situation.
And hopefully they'll get some
closure of some sort, yeah. What else is going on in the county this week, Clint, as far as sports go?
Sports-wise, an abbreviated schedule, if you will. The public schools are on spring break. This afternoon, South Choctaw will do battle this afternoon up at the softball complex in Totsey. Friday, big game coming up, South Choctaw and Patrician.
Yes.
That is the return matchup. That's up in Butler. Not a whole lot on the sports page, but I'm working on a feature on concussions, and I can tell you I've seen some very eye-opening things.
I know we've had some injuries of local athletes over the years. Some torn ACLs, messed up knees, concussions, some pretty serious ones over time. And that's an issue that's national. They're talking a lot about the issue of head injuries in youth sports.
It is, and the thing that I have been noticing in all my research is I believe that if you play long, if you play football especially, but it's not just football, baseball, softball. It's more common than what you think. And my thing is, we just didn't know.
That's right. And even the cheerleaders. We've had we sometimes overlook the fact that
Yeah.
cheerleaders are also um, in danger of accidents
Absolutely.
when they do some of the stunts and the stack-ups that they do. We've seen that happen with cheerleaders locally who've been injured. Several years back, a cheerleader over in the edge of Mississippi was critically injured, head injury from falling.
Right.
And so we don't need to leave out the cheerleaders
Absolutely
from
not.
that list of athletes that are in danger of injury and take precautions to prevent that.
But like I said, it's been a very eye-opening experience, and I look forward to putting that together and hope you'll enjoy it come Wednesday.
Well, also, this week in the news, we'll have a look at what happened. The state legislature just ended their 2018 session, and we'll have a look at what bills made it and what didn't. Some bills of interest that we've been following that might have or will affect local residents, and we'll have a look at that in the paper this week. We'll also have a look at the Choctaw County Chamber of Commerce and the record-breaking number of members that organization now has. It's just phenomenal to see the growth of the chamber, and we'll look at what the chamber is really all about. I think there might be some misconceptions as to what really the chamber's role is.
Right.
And we're going to take a look at the membership, record-breaking membership, and the role of the Chamber of Commerce in the area. So hopefully that'll be of interest to people. We'll also look at a story from the Choctaw County public school system. I spent a lot of time with the people at the central office of the school system last week going over a list of things that they're going to be implementing, changes that they're going to be putting in place to address some issues, curriculum changes, testing changes, and we'll also look at an area where they're actually exceeding some of the other more affluent school systems in the state in an area related to career readiness, percentage-wise. And we'll see that, and they're really taking a lot of strides trying to address what everybody knows are some issues in our local schools. So other than that, we'll have a lot of cuteness in the paper this week.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of Easter egg hunting. A lot of little faces, thousands of eggs, and just a whole lot of cuteness up in the paper this week. So y'all don't forget to get your copy. That'll come out on Wednesday. Around 10:30 we'll get that. And so it'll be on the street that day, and we hope that you will pick up a copy and see what's going on in the county. Those stories and a whole lot more.
Sounds good. We'll get to work on that.
Yeah, we're going to go get to work on that right now, and we'll see you on Wednesday.